We used to call it the kitchen table moment. Years ago, when business was done at the kitchen table, when we would finish a heating and air installation, we would finish installing some sort of product or system, we would have that moment with the customer where we would sit down with them at the kitchen table, sign some paperwork, get payment, and also go through the new system that they just bought, showing them how to use the thermostat, anything that was new. Maybe how to replace that air filter. Maybe it's in a new location and things like that. As time has gone on with my guys, I got to a point where we would talk about those moments, but they almost kind of became driveway moments, meaning when you finish that job, there's that moment in time out in the driveway before you leave that job and head to the next that you need to fill out your paperwork and make sure that everything is completely buttoned up. In this video, I want to go through that kitchen table or driveway moment, things that I think should occur, things that should be talked about, things that the contractor and homeowner should get on the same page on. And if you're a contractor, I would just encourage you to make sure that you or your guys are doing these things. But if you're the homeowner, I would push for this. I would say that before you let that contractor leave your driveway, that you're having that time that we're going to go through these things and that you're better informed, because in some cases, when that moment is over, you may not get that moment back. Obviously, there's times when the contractor could skip out on you or not return calls, but even with good contractors that do get back to you, that moment's over. And some of the things that you needed to get on the same page on and talk about, that moment is over and the time has passed. So let's go through it. Let's talk about some of the things that I think should occur with the kitchen table moment. I do think that operation of the system plays a big role. I remember when variable speed motors first came out, that was a big thing. We actually had our guys, we had to sit down with them and say, look, at the end of every install, you need to explain to customers how variable speed motors work, how there's going to be times that they just don't blow as hard, that they're used to their curtains being blown back every time that system kicks on, that those times are over. And it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the system, that it just operates differently and more efficiently and so on. We actually, to avoid those callbacks and upset customers, had to get our guys on the page of don't leave that house until you're having that kitchen table moment and explaining that variable speed motors are a part of that. I think to add to that is just having that moment where you actually show the customer how to operate that thermostat. And I've been guilty of this. Some thermostats are just, to me, they're not that big of a deal. They're user friendly. They should be able to just walk right up and use it. But that's coming from somebody that does this all the time. Sometimes seeing it through the lens of this is the first time they're laying hands or eyes on that thermostat. And just because we know how it works and how simple it is, it may seem daunting to them. It may seem overwhelming to them, this new device that not only did they spend all this money on it, but they also expect it to do certain things like keep them comfortable. So having that moment where you go through the thermostat and take the time. I used to get a little frustrated with customers that if they were busy or whatever and they didn't have time for me to go through everything, that's part of this. So I would encourage you, if you're the homeowner, have that contractor go through everything. It's one thing to know the mode and how to change the temperature and fan, but I want to know everything. I want to know how to run a schedule in that thermostat and how to clear reminders, temporary and permanent holds, how do those work, and just all the ins and outs of how that thermostat operates. Take a moment, calm down, slow down, and let's go through it so everyone's on the same page. Next, there's manuals and paperwork that you want to make sure that somebody knows where the location of those items are going to be. I did learn over the years that handing it directly to the homeowner isn't always the best thing. Now, if you're the type of homeowner that you do want it, that's different. But a lot of homeowners, we would hand it to them and they'd throw it in the back of a drawer or a cabinet, never to be seen again. And that's not a good thing. If somebody's to service that or do something with the warranty in the future, they're going to need that paperwork. Luckily, with the internet today, a lot of things we could pull up online, but it's just certainly more convenient. I've seen some companies have like literally some sort of folder that would stick to the unit, the indoor unit. So when they finish, they would stick it there. We used to just kind of stick it somewhere around it, like a little cubby hole or pocket of maybe the ductwork, and there's just a little place there to put it, but just somewhere that it's near that indoor unit so it stays out of the weather, but it's easily accessible if we needed it. Either way, letting the homeowner know, hey, this is where I'm putting it. This is your paperwork. Maybe some of the paperwork does need to go directly to the homeowner, and then the manuals and such can go with that indoor unit. Point being, having that moment, not just throwing it in the trash, not just throwing it in the back of the drawer, putting it somewhere with intention. Another thing is who's going to register the warranty. I wanted to take a quick break and tell you about something I'm doing outside of educating folks on our YouTube channel. If you're a service professional of any type, you don't have to be an HVAC, I want to invite you to check out our growth groups at newhvacguide.com. They are full of other pros like you that are wanting to grow. You can share strategies, overcome challenges, and unlock your full potential with the supportive community of your peers. Learn from industry experts and proven business tactics tailored specifically for service businesses.
The amount of information that I've gotten out of this has been unparalleled value. And I've learned so much from the other guys in the group, what to do, sometimes what not to do. It's helped inspire me. I'm really looking forward to what the future holds with it as my company grows and I grow as a person on this call.
Check out the description or the chat for the link. See you soon. Another thing is who's going to register the warranty. And if you're a homeowner, you may say, well, the contractor should take care of that. And I don't disagree with you on that. And hopefully you guys have figured that out before this moment in time. But if you haven't, take a moment to ask, are you going to register the warranty? You need to register it. I need the serial numbers. And whoever's going to register it, getting it registered, getting that certificate in hand, showing that it was registered. In some cases, that moment right there could cost you thousands of dollars. I can't tell you how many times we've gone to homes to repair a system that was installed years ago, only to find out that it was never registered. The homeowner just assumed it was registered, and that's a very expensive assumption. If you don't have a certificate or some sort of registration confirmation in your email box, I would either be on the contractor to get that done, or I would just do it myself. Either way, making sure that system gets registered. Now, there are some states that the warranty coverage is going to be good either way, but in a lot of states, if that system's not registered, the warranty coverage is dropped dramatically, which again could cost you a lot of money. Next, I think we should cover maintenance. I think that contractor should say to the homeowner, you have a media filter here, you have a humidifier, here's how all those things need to be maintained. Some of the stuff can be done by the homeowner, but a lot of it, they need to be having a pro come in there and properly having that system maintained over the years, having that moment where you explain to the customer what should be maintained, how it should be maintained. That could all affect the warranty as well. And of course, systems that are not maintained correctly can make utility bills higher, among other things. I think that moment, that kitchen table moment, should also involve walking outside and looking at what's now outside, whether it's the outdoor unit or package unit, whatever. But having a moment where you explain to the customer, these bushes here need to be cut back. They need to be maintained on the regular. We don't want to impede any airflow here. Here's the drain of the system. There's going to be water dripping out of that pipe right there. It might be dripping in the wintertime if you've got a high efficiency furnace. Just explaining everything outside so there's no surprises. We're seeing more and more dual fuel systems installed today, and maybe explaining to that homeowner, hey, the outdoor unit, I know you were used to that unit continuously running no matter how hot or cold it is outside. Just realize if it's below a certain temperature, you're going to be burning gas. This outdoor unit won't be running. Explaining the lockouts and how heat droop works on their particular system. Explaining inverter systems, right? We're seeing more and more of those installed today, and inverter systems are very different from the single stage systems. They have longer run times. They're quieter. Explaining just so the homeowner's not surprised by anything, having those moments, getting in front of some of these things, clearing up some of that confusion. You may save yourself from an unhappy customer, but also just confusion. If there's nothing surprising about how it operates after you leave, you could set yourself up with a happy customer just because you took a moment to explain all these things. The last thing I'll just maybe throw out there, and this is something that I did, this is something I learned, and that is I kept having customers that we couldn't have the kitchen table moment. Maybe they weren't home when we finished the installation. Maybe they were super busy and they wouldn't sit there and take the time for me to go through everything. They just wanted to hand me a check and send me on my merry way. I would encourage you as a YouTuber, somebody that makes videos, that even a person that's not very tech savvy could record a video going through all these things that we just talked about and more. And when you finish that job, you could send them an email that, hey, here's your installation, here's your registration confirmation for your warranty. And oh, by the way, here's a video that kind of runs through everything with your new system. I would definitely recommend checking that out. Doesn't need to be anything fancy. You can record it with a cell phone. You just kind of show them how to work the thermostat, show them different things as far as these types of air filters need to be replaced monthly, these types can last an entire year, etc. Ultimately, this kitchen table moment at the end of all of this is not just to get paid. It's, in my opinion, the last step of all these steps to make sure that we have a happy customer at the end of the day. So that's my all-encompassing kitchen table moment. Did I miss something? I'd love to hear about it. Leave us a comment down below. If you like this video, I think you'll like this one even more. It's where I talk about some of the HVAC products you should stop buying. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button. We'll see you next time.